I wasn't supposed to hear it. At first, I thought it was my own breathing, slow, uneven, shaky. The kind of breathing you don't notice until you're trying to fall asleep. So I held my breath. I listened. The sound didn't stop. It stayed steady, patient, deliberate. Whatever it was. It wasn't coming from me. It was coming from the wall. And it was breathing back, right behind my head.
In early 2009, a woman named Laura Bennett moved into a small rental house on the outskirts of a quiet town in northern England. It wasn't the kind of place that felt dangerous. The neighborhood was quiet, but not isolated. Neighbors close enough to hear a car door slam, far enough away to keep to themselves. The house itself was unremarkable. Not old, not new. No history attached to it. 2 modest bedrooms, a narrow hallway, a small kitchen with thin interior walls that carried sound easily. The rent was reasonable, not suspiciously cheap, just enough to feel like a good find. Laura lived alone. She worked late shifts at a local pharmacy and often didn't get home until after midnight. By the time she returned, the town was asleep. Silence wasn't something she feared. It was something she relied on. After spending all day talking to customers, answering questions, hearing complaints, silence was how she decompressed. That's why the first sound unsettled her so deeply. Because it broke the silence in a way that felt personal, not mechanical, not distant, intimate. It happened on the 3rd night. Laura was lying in bed, lights off, phone glowing softly in her hands. She had just plugged it in when she heard something, a faint, irregular noise. It came from the wall directly behind her headboard. At first, she barely registered it. Houses make noise, pipes shift, walls creak. She assumed it was plumbing. Then she realized something was wrong. Pipes don't pause. This sound did. It would stop completely, then start again, slow, controlled, rhythmic, breathing. Laura lowered her phone and sat up. The sound continued. She pressed her ear to the wall. Then, instinctively, she held her breath. The breathing didn't change. It didn't speed up. It didn't stop. It kept going, as if it didn't care whether she was listening or not. Laura pulled the blankets tighter around herself and waited. Minutes passed. The breathing continued until, without warning, it stopped. The silence that followed felt heavier than the sound itself. She didn't sleep in the bed again that night. She took her pillow and slept on the couch with the lights on. Over the next week, the breathing returned, always after midnight. Sometimes it came from the bedroom wall, sometimes from the hallway, once from behind the kitchen cabinets, always just behind the plaster, never loud, never rushed, as if whoever or whatever was producing it was trying not to be noticed. Laura started leaving the TV on at night, not to drown out the sound, but to make sure she wasn't imagining it. She called the landlord. He laughed. "Old houses make strange noises," he said. "Probably rats, or the house settling. But rats don't breathe slowly, and houses don't sound tired." Laura stopped inviting people over. She stopped sleeping through the night. Then one evening, after coming home later than usual, she did something she hadn't planned to do. She stood in the hallway and knocked on the wall. 3 soft taps. She waited. Nothing. She was about to laugh it off when 3 taps came back. From the other side, not immediately, but not late enough to be coincidence. Laura stepped away from the wall. The breathing returned. The breaking point came 12 days after she moved in. Laura came home close to 1 a.m. The moment she stepped inside, she knew something was wrong. The house felt empty. Not quiet. Empty. She stood still in the hallway when she heard it again. Breathing. Louder now. Closer. Then something new. A whisper. Not a word. Just air. Deliberately pushed through lips. Right behind the wall. Laura grabbed a knife from the kitchen and pressed it against the plaster. Her hand was shaking. "Who's there?" she asked. The breathing stopped. The silence stretched. Then something shifted. The wall bulged slightly, as if something inside it had leaned forward. Laura dropped the knife. She ran. She didn't grab her keys. She didn't turn off the lights. She didn't lock the door. She didn't come back that night. The police searched the house the next morning. At first they found nothing. No crawl spaces, no attic access, no hidden rooms, until one officer noticed something strange. The interior walls were thicker than usual. When they opened them, they discovered a narrow cavity running through the house. Inside were food wrappers, dirty clothing, scratch marks, and a thin mattress folded to fit the space. Someone had been living there, moving through the walls, breathing there, watching. The person was never found. Laura moved out that same day. She never returned for her furniture. She still can't sleep in silence, because sometimes, when everything is quiet, she hears it again, not in the walls, but right behind her, breathing.